In light of the recent announcement from Microsoft deprecating support for the App v5 server components, many organizations are wondering what to do next in terms of delivering their applications, and Recast Application Workspace provides a solution to that. It can deliver applications to physical, virtual, persistent and non-persistent endpoints. And you can see from my categories on the left that it can deliver App V packages, MSI, MSIX, MSIX App Attach using SIM disks or VHDX disks, and of course PowerShell and PSADT. Now I'm just using this demo really to explore the foundational principles of Application Workspace in terms of how it functions and how it can deliver applications. Now you can see these icons. These are not just standard icons. They're what Recast refer to as smart icons. Now the underlying nature of these is that they invoke an action set, and an action set is basically a group of actions, and each action can be used to provide pre-configuration, post-configuration, post-launching or installing, and of course uninstalling an application. And I'll give you a demonstration of that. So here we have an action set that's been invoked, and there's a single action in there just to install the MSI. You can see WinSCP is installed there. And of course, this action just removes the MSI. But if we dig a bit deeper into our package, we go to the Actions tab, we've actually created an action here that we can enable to launch WinSCP after it installs the package. Now, one of the beauties that I find refreshing about Application Workspace is that I make a configuration change at the back end, and I'm not waiting around for content to distribute, for collections to update. I'm not invoking discovery cycles. I'm not sifting through logs wondering why changes haven't taken effect. I literally click a refresh button and the changes have been made. So you'll see now that if I invoke this action set by clicking on this smart icon, not only will it install the application, but it will launch it. If I click on that again, of course it's already installed, so it won't reinstall it, it will just launch it. So they're really powerful in terms of what the action sets can be used for. I'll now remove that and I'll take us on to our App V demonstration. So consider that the App v5 publishing server components are being deprecated. One of the problems with lumping all your App V packages, from delivering them over HTTP to lumping them on a network share and delivering them over SMB, is you're rerouting network traffic over a different protocol. Now, if you've got an organization that perhaps is heavily reliant on group policies, or you have many map network drives, or even roaming profiles, could have an impact on logon times. And of course, if you've got a lot of applications in your organization that maybe read and write from log files on a network share, maybe the read and write from databases on a network share, it could have implications on performance too. So what I've done in this example is I've created our own App v5 streaming server. Now it's just a web server which delivers App v5 packages. Of course, because it uses HTTPS, it's encrypted traffic, so secure in that sense. We could utilize load balancing, but for the purposes of this demo lab, it doesn't. But we do utilize web server caching. So when an App V package is accessed, it will be cached in memory for 10 minutes. And any subsequent request for that package, it should make streaming that package more optimal. We also secure it down to the user agent string for the App V client. So you can't just access an App v5 package in the browser and download it. It can only be accessed from an App V client. And this is an example really of adding the application over HTTPS. If I run a get App V client package, you will see there that it's added it via our own App V streaming server. Now we can add another layer of security onto this. There's an option with App v5 Service Pack 3. If I look at our configuration, to require publisher's admin. Now, typically organizations only require you to be an admin to add an App V package and not to publish an App V package. So there is a little security hole there whereby if a package is added to an endpoint, then any user on that endpoint can actually publish it unless you enable a setting like this. But enabling a setting like this means that it adds complexity to publishing a package, and you would need to use something like this. You'd need to target a user SID. Now, the complexity there is that you're running a commandlet essentially elevated, but you need to obtain the user SID of that user that's logged on. Now, the action sets provide a great solution to this. Remember, we can have multiple actions in an action set. So in this example, in the Cisco Jabber example, we have an action that obtains the user SID because it runs in a user context. And then the subsequent action grabs hold of that user SID and it runs in an elevated context to add and publish the package to that user. So that's the power of action sets and actions that give us multiple possibilities in terms of configuring our applications. Now, rather than just show me adding and removing this AppV package, I'm going to give you a demonstration of how we can also use Application Workspace to apply connection groups. So I'm going to apply this connection group, which will basically connect Notepad and Cisco Jabber. And we can do this using the dependencies that Application Workspace provides us with. So this application has dependencies of Notepad and Cisco Jabber. You can see that they've both been added there, and I'm going to invoke Notepad++. Whilst we're waiting for that to launch, I can also open a PowerShell prompt, and just to prove that that connection group is applying, I can look at my packages, see that they're both added, and see that they're now both in use. And I've only launched Notepad, so you can see that they're both connected. I'll now remove that connection group, which will also remove the Notepad and the Cisco Jabber packages. The next example I'm going to take us on to is how we can deliver MSIX packages. Now, I just want to, before I show you Firefox, I just want to show you what disk space we've got available, because this will take me on to the next example. So you can see we've got 70.7 gigabytes of used disk space. And if I add this MSIX package, it will also launch it because we've got an action to launch it afterwards. You can see we're now using 71 gigabytes. So it's approximately 300 megabytes adding this package. And if I remove it and we check our disk space again, we're back to 70.7. So it uses approximately 300 megabytes. Now you can contrast this with using MSIX App Attach. Here in this example, we're using a VHDX disk. And if we add the package now, so we're mounting a disk on a network share and we're registering an MSIX package on that network share, you can see again that it's added it. But if we look at the disk space now, it's still 70.7. So it doesn't really use any disk space. So that's one of the advantages of using MSIX App Attach. Now, I will show you as well, we don't have to invoke these synchronously, we can invoke them asynchronously as well. So you can imagine maybe these all run at logon, and they all, we've got launch conditions after this to actually launch each application. You might not want that functionality, it's entirely up to you, but that was a demonstration really of how we can attach subsequent disks and register the MSIX packages asynchronously at the same time. So it's really efficient, really speedy in terms of that. I'll remove those as well at the same time, and I'll take you on to an example of MSIX App Attach using SIM disks. Now, I found that during my testing that attaching SIM disks is actually faster than attaching VHDX disks, and you'll notice that more with the larger disks that you're attaching. Notepad++ is only a small footprint, but this is an example again of how we can use MSIX App Attach by mounting a SIM disk, and again we've got an action to launch that at the end. Finally, I want to show you an example of how we can invoke PowerShell scripts as well. This is an example of using PowerShell App Deploy Toolkit. It's a fantastic open source toolkit, and we're using it basically to invoke a local installation of Inkscape. So it's a fantastic tool, Application Workspace. If you want more information, if you want me to take you on a guided tour around the lab, please feel free to reach out.